All right, we're back in live. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Data Rich Show. I have two amazing guests with me today. And before I introduce them, we're going to jump into, well, I'm going to let you know what we're going to do today. We're going to be jumping into some specific metrics around subscription data. So if you are a business owner and you're a marketing team, you have subscriptions, that's an amazing thing. But in my past, when I worked with marketing clients, I always made sure that you have to have subscription data. You've got to have something that's MRR in your business instead of just doing launches all the time. So we want to go really, really deep into some metrics that we see at Praxis Metrics all the time. And the two guys I brought with me here are Jeremy Reeves and Austin Hanks. So where are you in the world right now, Jeremy?
I'm in Wyoming, Pennsylvania, one of the most boring places on earth.
Oh, but it's actually gorgeous. And I'm in Austin, Texas. And this gentleman down here, Austin Hanks, is where?
I am phoning in from mainland China.
Mainland China. Now, just real quick, just a little story. You and your family are there. And
yeah, got my wife and three little boys.
Right.
Yeah, we're testing out a little bit of a digital nomad lifestyle. We're here for, I think the total is going to be about 57 days that we're away from home. Came to China. We actually only packed, interesting fact, only packed 2 carry-on suitcases for all 5 of us. And so far it hasn't been a problem, except for maybe I should have brought a razor or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're starting to get that beard going down the neck. That's awesome. No, I appreciate you guys joining us today. And Austin is actually works with us. He's director of education and business intelligence at Praxis Metrics at our company. And then Jerry, actually past client, dear friend, and amazing, brilliant marketer in his own right. And so we're going to get 3 different perspectives on some data today, which I think will be a lot of fun. So you guys have any comments on the kind of data we're going to jump into as I pull up my screen here?
No, I love these subscription metrics that we have up, so I'm excited to dive in.
Cool. Well, so what we're going to be showing is a dashboard we've built out called the Digital Sales Dashboard. And so it goes over revenue and a bunch of other stuff. I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit and get to this part, which is the subscription collection. So high level, and Austin is the actual engineer that built this out for us. We've done hundreds of implementations with e-commerce companies and digital product companies. And these are the metrics that time and time again, everybody kept asking for. So we just pre-built it into this dashboard. So starting off, I guess, Austin, I'd love for you to kind of kick it off since you've really built these out.
Yeah, I think the great thing about this whole dashboard and including these subscriptions is we've mapped into all sorts of data sources. So we can do this with Shopify recharge data. We can do it with UltraCart data, Limelight. If you've got subscription data, we can map it in here. And what we like to do in this section is show you what's happening with your trends over time. This first card that AJ has clicked into full screen mode here shows us with the last 12 months what growth has been like every single day. So we can look back at any single day in the past and show you how many active subscriptions you had on that day. In this case, with this data, we can see that their current subscription count is just over 1,000. That's pretty good compared to a year ago. But if I were to look at this, I'd start to see this downward trend from the start of the year and start to wonder why that is. But that's the kind of insight we're trying to get with this first card. It's just high-level overview of how are we trending with our subscription counts.
Yeah, I mean, right away as marketers, I mean, Jeremy, you're probably going to say the same thing. Like if we look back here at 2018, right, there were only about 630 here. And, you know, there's some little spikes like this that happened, and we can drill into that data a little bit further. But really, they started really crushing it here December, right? That makes sense. January kept going up, and then now here we're at a little downward trend. So actually, it's just going down quite a lot. So they were all the way up to 1427. So they're down about 300 right now. But it's really nice to see that.
Like a 30 to 40% drop there.
That's a big one.
Maybe that's seasonal with holiday promotions, so maybe it's not out of the norm. But
Yeah. And if we wanted to drill into more data and if it was there, we could go back even further, whatnot. But like really, this is that snapshot you want to be able to see as a business owner, as a marketing team, to see how you're doing overall. Jeremy, any other comments to this one or anything else we should add to this one?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I know that a lot of business owners, the kind of, and this obviously is different for every single business, but one of the general comments that I see in a lot of my clients is that they at least want their subscriptions to pay for like all their overhead, right? So they wake up, and they know all the overhead for the business is taken care of, right? So
Yeah.
if you're looking at this and you can do, cash flow projections, you can do like things like that. You're basing some of your hiring, some of your, marketing expense on your subscriptions. This is a really good thing to know because, when you're up here and you're looking at, between September and February, you're going up and up and up. Everything's fantastic. And then now you're looking and it's like, uh-oh, it's going back down. Then it's like, hey, do we need to, like, first of all, figuring out why that's happening, obviously.
Right.
But then you can even look at this and say, like, kind of project into the future and say, all right, should we be cutting back? Should we be, trying to fix it first? Like kind of what's the next step, based off this data that we're looking at.
Perfect. And that's why this was first, right? Austin is like, this starts off with answering just a few business questions. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the next one, which is even more specific, right? This is going to show the net subscription change. And right now we're just looking at the past 3 months. Again, we can change that and I'll go ahead and keep it right here for now for our first analysis. But Austin, you want to walk us through this one?
Yeah, I think the step through that you were just talking through, Jeremy, is great. And that's what we're trying to do with this dashboard here is high level, well, why is this happening? And this card tries to give us more insight into that. Well, by viewing the change and having this net subscription change here, we can see if there are any huge red flags on any specific day or a group of days where we gained or lost any certain number of people. So AJ highlighted that big spike that was pretty out of the normal on when we added a bunch of new subscriptions. So that's a positive aspect. Maybe we would want to go in and see, did we do anything special on the 17th? Maybe we ran a specific ad or promotion that got us a lot of new subscriptions that specific day. But then also, if we were to look at spikes on the negative side as well, we would want to know, well, who are these people that canceled, right? Why did they cancel? Did we send an email on that specific day that triggered people to cancel or whatnot? But these are the types of things. We're just trying to pinpoint when things happened. And then from there, we can start to think back on, well, what did we do or what might have influenced that?
Right. And so I think time frame here is really important. So let's look at what happens if we go back 6 months, right? So we go back 6 months, it's a very different story, right? Look at this. I mean, they've been going down and down and down. That means they've been losing more than they've been gaining. So this net subscriptions is really telling us that story. So if we go back 6 months, I'm sorry, let's go 12. Okay. Very different story here. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is just a different way to view it's telling the same story that first card did, but just a little bit more insight into when the big changes are happening. So overall up year over year, but if we try to nail down why they might be going down.
Right. So they're at 794 net subscriptions and down 520, down to 520 right now.
Yeah.
But really look at this awesome growth here. This is incredible.
And I'm seeing even specific days where there are massive growth in there, right?
Yeah, like right here, if we zoom into this, like what was going on here? Maybe these are affiliates, right? Maybe these, this is anonymized data, but usually we're able to like drill down and look at what campaigns these people came from with these big spikes, and why are we not doing more of those? Or maybe they're just an affiliate that just does once in a while.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at these too, is like when you look at that first one, it just shows you can look at it a very quick overview. Hey, it's going up, it's going down, it's neutral. And then this one, I like it because you can drill into like the daily stuff, right? It's not just like the first one is a trend. This one, you can really highlight it and look into that, drill down, look into the daily stuff. And like you said, did an affiliate mail? Did you change something in your upsell flow? Did you maybe change an offer, something like that. Maybe you started a free trial thing, whatever it is. And you can see actually why that's, or begin at least to see, why it's going up, down, not going up or down if you wanted it to, that sort of thing.
And just catching this stuff. Because if you see right about here, there's a couple big spikes, but then we're starting to get really thick in like every day, they're losing a lot of customers. So, right, if it was us, we like, as soon as that starts happening in, as a trend, what is going on here? We need to get on this now. That's why the real-time data is so helpful. This is just one case study. Obviously, different companies have different kind of experiences, but this is a really, really valuable one.
There's one more point that I'd like to make too, is this is a good one to check if you're making changes, right? So let's say you add in a Save the Sale campaign on whatever, March 15th. Well, then starting on March 16th, you can look at this and get the overall trend of everything historically. And so normally you're waiting months and months and months to see what happens when you're making changes with recurring, models. This allows you to get a lot more like fast feedback, because if you're averaging, you're losing 30 people a day, and then you add that Save to Sale, and all of a sudden, the red bars they're way shorter to 15 a day, then really quickly in the first couple of days, hey, this is making a big difference.
Yep.
It's good to look at it when you're making some kind of change, for either to get more subscribers or reduce the refunds.
Now, this is fantastic. And this is fun, guys.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Data. Oh, it's so sexy. All right, I think we're good on this one. Now let's go, and this gets even more actionable. This is like even better. And I think a lot of people focus on like the average attrition rate, right? Or the average of cancellation. So if it's normally like, oh, people usually stay with us about a year, well, they look at, their drop-offs happening about 50%. Well, that's, you can send more autoresponders. You could do something in the middle of the year, but we want to make sure that these metrics are actionable, like down to where specifically can we take action that will dramatically have an effect on the business. So Austin created this one called Days to Cancellation, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, this is basically day 0 is the day they buy, they become a customer. So let's look at that story that it tells from when people are buying and where they're dropping off, right?
Yeah, exactly. So whereas the other two cards we're looking at is zooming in on specific calendar dates and what might have happened there. With this, we've standardized everybody that you've acquired and set their starting line here, and we're tracking them to see what trends are happening over time. And so with this specific card, what we want to do is we want to look for spikes on any given day, because this is showing how many days it took all the people that all the subscriptions that you've had cancel, how many days it took for them to cancel. So here with this data, AJ just highlighted 5 and 7, right? So those are the two most common days that people are canceling. And maybe that's not a surprise to the customer with this data. Maybe they're running like a free 7-day trial or something, and they would expect a lot of jump off after that 7 days. But identifying these spikes, you can really start to think about what your tactics are. If you have a nurturing program, an email list or funnel that is triggered when somebody joins your subscription, right? Maybe there's an email that's being sent out on day 7 that's reminding people and causing them to go and cancel, right? And so start to look into our tactics like that and see if anything we're doing is influencing that, or what can we do to preemptively stop people from these common behaviors that we're seeing. I
love it. Yeah. And so like we're basically asking, well, why on day 5 are we having 71 cancellations? 5%, almost 5.5% people are canceling right here. So what are those actions we can go do? We've had a case study before where everything was doing really well here, keep staying underneath this like threshold, but then all of a sudden on like day 28 or 30, there's this huge spike of people canceling. And they were going through their autoresponders. They were going through, is anybody calling them and making them mad? Like, what is going on? And it came down to the fact that they had their Stripe account or one of their merchant accounts had a little checkbox that was sending this weird looking receipt to people when they would get recharged. And it's one of those receipts that looks, the type is really weird. It just looks fake and it looks weird. And so there's no branding on it whatsoever. And so people are like, wait a minute, I'm getting billed for this. What is this thing? Oh, I'm going to go cancel. Right. And I had all the information there for them to go cancel. So that once they turned that off, that spike went away, but they were losing a dramatic amount of people and they couldn't figure out why. So the data is going to tell a story. Sometimes it tells a story that you don't want to hear, but at least it can help you go find that action. But right here, it's like specifically, we need to really focus on days 4 through 6, even day through 10, to really indoctrinate people and educate them better, or have somebody reach out to them, give them something for free. This is just a really, really helpful metric. I love this one.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites too, because it tells so much and it gives you so many ideas to help these metrics, right? So like you were saying, they were getting that weird receipt. Well, one idea you could do there is like, in depending on the merchant and all the software and everything, some require that, some don't, whatever. If it requires it, or if you want to do it just for branding purposes, that sort of thing, rather than just, hey, FYI, we just charge you another $40. You remind them, right? Reassure them, remind them of why they joined in the first place. Tease them about something that's coming up in the future. If you're getting a lot of cancels right at, I know like for me, in most of my clients, I see a lot of cancels on day one, right? Because they're joining it to save to get a better deal, and then they cancel it immediately. So put a save the sale in, right? Remind them of why they did it. Have them, or just say, hey, you know what? We know you want to cancel, and you still can, but why don't you at least give it a shot, right? We'll still honor the discount or whatever, but at least try it. Like, don't do it just to, get a better deal or whatever. A lot of people, and then it's like, so the big spike there. And then it's generally, right before and after they get rebilled. So if you're rebilled 30 days later, you're going to get a lot of cancels towards that 30-day mark. So tease them about something that they're going to get. Send them a free gift if they stay, that sort of thing. And then, like I said, if a lot of times they cancel right after they're billed because they forgot about it, then they get billed, and then, hey, refund me, cancel it. I didn't even remember, and that's your opportunity to resell them on why they joined in the first place.
Exactly. Re-indoctrination.
I mean, this is a course in itself probably, but
definitely we can go a lot of ways with this one, but no, it's awesome advice, awesome actions to take from it. The thing is, this is very actionable data. And then last but not least, and there's a lot of other metrics obviously we can go over, but we were focusing on these 4 just for today. But this is our subscriptions cohort analysis. And Austin, can you talk about what cohort is, just so that people understand? A lot of people think they know what it is, but I don't think they may not know the exact definition.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to quote a Webster dictionary definition here, but cohort is when you're bucketing people into a common group. And in this case, we're bucketing people into a group of when they joined your subscription product.
Right.
And so as we can see on this very first column, we've got the start month. So this is showing people when their subscription started. If we're looking at September 2018, that's all subscriptions that started in that month.
Right.
And by doing this, we can better see how that group progressed, and if certain groups behave differently than others, because then we can start to, again, look back at what might have happened to acquire them, or how we nurtured them, and see if anything we've done has affected how they performed over time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So walk us through this. So if this is the start month, this is how many, go ahead.
Yeah, so the next column is pretty simple, just giving you kind of a population size, or how many subscriptions you actually acquired within that month.
Got it.
So after you know that, you can then progress to this next column, which is showing you of those. So of the 358 that we acquired in September, how many of those are still active right now? And that's 36. So that's a pretty big drop off. It's been about a year. Maybe that's fairly standard for this client. Hard to say, right? But we can know how many are active today, but more importantly, we can track these people over time, as we do in these next 7 columns, and to see if see what trends are.
Got
And
it.
so, with this first column, you see how many are still active after 15 days. And by doing this, I don't want to just focus just on September, because now that we're in this 15-day, these different time periods, it's good to look across the cohorts to see if there's any outliers, anything that's pretty different. So it looks like this customer is usually hovering around 60, mid-60s, but there's this month, December, right? 72% were still active after 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did they bring in way more subscriptions than they had in the months previous, but they kept them longer too.
Right.
So that's, they probably offered a pretty sweet deal there. So that's a high month. But then if we come down to these more recent months, May, June, July, after 15 days, you already dropped 40 to 50% of your subscription base that fast. That's pretty alarming. And then you could do the same thing throughout all these different time periods, just to look for those very huge differences in any of the numbers.
Yeah, there's so I looked up the definition of cohort. So just for a little history, because this is interesting. So cohort is actually an ancient Roman. It comes from the ancient Roman times, and it's a group of people banded together or treated as a group. So it's actually like talking about like the military groups, which I never knew. That's something I've actually learned on this too.
Knowledge drop. Boom.
Live learning.
That makes cohorts even cooler to me.
Yeah, doesn't it? One of the things,
how close my definition was there.
It was close.
I was gonna say, like, Austin, you had it right. Like, you were right on there.
Not the military part, but
one of the things that I like too with this, like, as I'm looking at this, think about seasonality too. So if you can see like they started in this month, or this product or whatever, but just say this month, right, for that cohort. If you're in weight loss, for example, and you see that your start month for January, right, it's the people that are all excited, they think they're going to lose a lot of weight, but then like you can actually look and see like, well, hey, those people are dropping off really fast, because they didn't hit their goal or whatever, or maybe it's way higher. And you can actually shift your strategy based on that. So if you have months where, people are dropping off, like in this, 15 days for December is 32, but in June it's 52, which is honestly probably looks like something that would happen in a weight loss example. You can remove your subscription in those months, possibly. Again, it depends on what else you're doing, but like replace that with a one-time offer.
Yeah.
Because in those, like overall the numbers make sense, but maybe in those months it actually makes more sense to get the money up front. So it's just looking at it in different ways and saying, what's the data telling me? What are the other things that we can test based on like how the variances of the numbers, so there's so much you could do from it.
So much you can do. And we can also, switch over to this table view, and you can play with like the different percentages if you want to reorder them and stuff for more further analysis, right, Austin? Like you can just kind of switch this around, but we just wanted to put this in a very easy format for people to understand. Mm-hmm. Awesome, guys. Well, let's just wrap up here. So again, this is part of our digital sales dashboard which has a lot of other great stuff. And we're going to do another conversation around this, but this was, again, subscription trend by day. We shared with you. We did the net subscription change by day, days to cancellation, and then subscription cohort analysis. And we learned where the origin of cohorts is. So that was pretty cool. I'd say this was an awesome data conversation, guys. Thank you for your help on this. And anybody, if you have questions at all about this dashboard, if you want to get this same kind of data, come check us out at praxismetrics.com. Comment on the below the video here, and we're always open to other questions or any other insights that you wanted to gather from this that we may not have had. Please let us know. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
See ya.